But I'm glad everyone has their cameras on, so I don't have to talk to blank.
Like your kids, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, Alan, try teaching about 5 kindergartners their alphabet while trying to input their username on their first day of school ever.
Yeah.
Every day. It's fun. Thank you guys for joining us. I know right now
That's like 50% of Mexicans, bro, right there. Teaching 5 children at once. I'm just saying.
Ooh, Cesar dressed up. Look at that.
Now that Cesar's here.
Okay.
Now that Cesar's here, here we go. Let's get it going. Let's go.
Oh man.
You guys don't get dressed up for presidential debates? No? Am I the only one?
Hey, honestly, I was looking at that. It was intense. It was getting well, hopefully we'll do a better job at moderating than Chris Wallace was. So I think we'll just go ahead and include this, guys. Again, thank you for joining us.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we have
Cool.
pretty much the gamut of everybody, San Diego Loyal media related with a podcast or something that has to do specifically with San Diego Loyal. Us, Chiva and I, we're fans of Loyal, and we support them 100%. But everybody here has contact directly 100%, except when there's beers involved sometimes with the locals. 100% loyal. So I want to say thank you guys for just coming out and treating us so well. It's like a second family that I wish I had. Geez. I never knew I could have, but I wanted to say thank you again. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and say where you guys are from. I have Jerry this way, so he's top. So if you want to start it off, Jerry.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jerry Jimenez. I am the communications director for the locals, and I'm excited to be here with all of these awesome people that I listen to. They're always in my ear, but now I get to actually see you. This is really cool. Thank you for having me.
Love it, man. Let's see. Down here, we have Lance. How's it going, Lance?
Hey, great, man. So I'm Lance Trezona. I am just a big fan of The Loyal, and I do the Loyalist podcast. And it's just weird seeing everybody on the screen right now. It's like, hell yeah, dude. So cool. So
Pretty cool. I like it.
I love it. And to your left, the very, 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 very well-bearded Alan Underwood. Such jealousy of your ability to do that.
Yeah, it's almost trimming time. I need to go back down to like Drew Steck level in a second. I need to like trim that back. But no, yeah, it's great. Fairweather Pod is doing well. We're having a good time. As of late, we didn't put out a recap last week because I was angry, and then everything else happened, and so I decided to ignore that as if that game didn't happen. But I know I'm working on some stuff with BGN and trying to get into some dig into the rules and what things we can talk about and try to put pressure on the league to change some stuff, hopefully. But that's things are going well. I know Chris will be here in a second, but I'm glad to be here. It's good to see friends again. This almost feels like we're back,
Right?
But yeah, love it.
Then we have the great Drew Steck, who is actually really good at soccer. That's how I first met him. Just destroying children under the bridge at.
You guys nominate bigger.
It's really good, yeah. When you're twice their size, it kind of helps. Although sometimes they can get the goal.
Doing. You guys,
what?
You guys don't know what you're doing. Don't give any more reason for Drew's head to get bigger and bigger.
Don't
he
worry,
already
Jerry.
knows he's awesome.
He's never played.
I look in the mirror every morning. I say how much I hate myself, Jerry. I don't know what you're talking about. I have to beat up kids because otherwise I have no self-esteem. That's pretty much how it goes.
And nobody does it better than you, Drew. And
Thank
of
you.
course, we have everybody's favorite hater of Jim from The Office, the best dressed. I'm not going to let you get off of that. I still don't understand that logic. He's the best character. But we do have the great Cesar Hernandez. How are you doing, Cesar?
Doing well. Yeah, Cesar Hernandez, freelance soccer writer, have apparently an infamous office character power rankings list that people do not agree with. But I listen to all of your podcasts, and since all of you guys tend to drink on your podcast, or at least most of you, I decided to open up a Stone Delicious IPA to join you guys. So, yeah,
Nice.
Salud. We got
Cheers,
our
yeah.
mystery.
It's a special
drink.
occasion. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
I
man.
thought there would be a pre-show, so I'm gonna go run and get something now. So your next
Oh, I
question
didn't know.
better
I
not be
just,
to me.
I figured, yeah. Literally, Jerry said that he was drinking before we got on. I was like, oh, what's happening here?
I always drink, Cesar. Come on, man. You know me well enough.
And I see that you're holding up one of Three Punk Sales' new drinks. Was that Jerry?
That's right. Pelotero.
I love it.
Yeah,
And
I love this beer, man. It is so good. It's a 10%. I probably shouldn't be drinking it on a Tuesday. Imperial IPA. It actually says on here, don't drink on a Tuesday. But sorry, Steve Garcia.
But here we are on a Tuesday, and I bring that up because it's really how the story of us discovering San Diego Loyal kind of came about. Look, Three Punks Ale happens to be in a coalition with Tacos El Vaquero, which is one of our sponsors from the beginning, and it's just one of those things where things just magically happen. And when we met everybody here, it was one of those things where it just clicked. And I want to know what clicked with you and this team that made you want to start a creative project like this. And if anybody wants to go ahead, and it's an open question.
Jerry's dying to say something.
Oh, it's all you, Jerry.
I literally just wanted to say that when I picked up that pelotero that's in my hand right now,
Mhm.
by the way, I saw a 2 balls and a mic sticker on the El Vaquero truck.
Yeah.
And then there was a Loyal sticker inside, and I'm like, these guys know their marketing. So, yeah, that's just shout out to those guys. Their tacos are amazing. If you haven't checked them out,
Definitely
do
check them
that.
out, man. Good friend from high school of mine.
Yeah.
Successful business so far.
Yeah,
so
man,
it's pretty good.
and it's everybody from the community again coming together for a common goal. Hopefully, we can enjoy those with some away games live. But again, how did you guys decide? Hey, there's a team in town. Let's go ahead and start a podcast to follow every movement that they make.
I'll go first
Yeah.
if you guys don't mind. For me, man, it was an easy decision just because I had just started getting into the USL when San Diego Loyal was announced, and I had no idea who any of the players were. My background was European soccer. I mean, Bundesliga, La Liga, EPL. And so for me, man, it just was a way for me to get to know the players, a little bit about them, some of their stories, see who's on the team, why I'm supporting them, you know, and stuff like that. It's been great though. It's been a great journey.
I think for us, Drew, maybe you can pitch in here.
Well,
But
you did start a podcast before we started a supporters group, so you can talk about that, and then kind of what made you want to start a San Diego sport or soccer podcast at the time. I guess that's currently dormant. Correct? It's never dead. It's just dormant.
It's never did. No, but so I mean, I got involved with the locals, and as you know, the original 4 of us that kind of came up with this idea, which was Drew, Steve, Daryl, and myself, sat around. I think we were trying to figure out ways that we could communicate how the supporter group was going to go, and really give everybody their way of receiving information, because some people go to blogs, some people subscribe to podcasts, some people want Twitter, some people want Instagram, and so we just wanted to make sure that everybody got information for the supporters group the way that they received the information. And a podcast was just something that I was good at and had experience with and had gear, and so we decided, hey, let's go ahead and do this. Drew had done a few podcasts before. Steve actually never done it, but we started the Loyal Locals podcast as part of the local supporter group to just put information out there and just make sure that if something was going to come out, as far as, tailgates and tifo painting, which unfortunately we all know what we're going through now. So this kind of more became a way of keeping people updated with what we're doing behind the scenes, because we're still busy. So, we decided to do it, and it's been going on, and I feel like we've been doing pretty well. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, I think that context is a huge part of it, right? Like other mediums, you have the ability to quickly get information out there, like Twitter, Our emails are actually ravenously picked up by our group, and they do a great job. But there is a certain context with email where people are going to read the first 2 paragraphs and stop reading, right? You're going to say, what do I need to know? And then TLDR, right? Versus a podcast, you're committing to a certain period of time to where we can give you context around decisions. We can give you context around how we feel about the team, and possibly just certain media, shirts, all the things we do, right? As a supporters group, especially when they're done kind of a little bit more isolated, for lack of a better term, during this period. It's given us ability to speak to people like that. But even before then, it was great to be able to show, and we always talked about it. It's a great making of a supporters group, letting people know the thought process, the mindset, the ideas, the things that don't happen, right? The things we talked about in episode 1 or 2 that never take place, or that might come back up. But it's funny to see those through lines or things that also just change over time. And for that, it's kind of a living document. In a sense, which I really like about podcasts, because you can revise yourself with each new episode.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that I will say, and I'll shoot it over to Alan, is the quality of podcasting. I mean, I've been listening to podcasts for a while, but the quality of podcast content coming out is fantastic, from the locals. And again, the content quality from the Fairweather podcast. I mean, you guys do the triple box, the graphics, it's consistently great. So kudos to you, Marissa and Chris, Alan. But as far as how the little light bulb came up, how did that come about for you?
I blame DK and Ewo, and the Kept Faith podcast, to shout out another local San Diego podcast.
Shout
Happened
out
to be on. Right, shout out to DK.
Why can't we do a podcast without shouting out DK? Like he's
everywhere.
That's what I was trying to say about your podcast, Jerry. You were doing a podcast with DK
everywhere.
Before we did the locals
podcast.
So there you go.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Well, he was on the Kept Faith. And he was talking about American soccer and the need to support lower level soccer and local soccer. And he was like, if you want to support some lower level soccer, check out the USL show. And I was like, what is this USL show? And I started following the league as a whole. Like I didn't have a team. And then it was these guys from Orange County were asking for help, and me being a mediocre white guy, I was like, I can do this. And so I did it, and I fell into some opportunities. I was lucky enough to have some people that were willing to help me out, and give me some pointers. Like Cesar was incredibly helpful at the beginning. And I just kind of started the league. I started working for Orange County, and San Diego was going to get their team. That's why I was like, I'm going to follow Orange County until San Diego can figure their lives. And then all of a sudden, it was just like San Diego's getting a USL side. And I was like, I'm there. I'm on it. And then I was kind of filling out the environment. Is there going to be people who want to talk about it? There's a lot of people who are really smart who are creating content. And I wasn't sure. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to find some good people to do it with, and help create a community that I'm proud to be a part of and one part of it. And I mean, I'm standing on shoulders of giants, if you will, with the amount of help that I've gotten and the guidance that I've gotten from the community has been really helpful. And I just want to give back and be a part of that and encourage people to continue that conversation. So, without DK and Cesar with old school, the Sholos podcast, and just kind of following those podcasts, those were my introduction to a lot of these things. And there were really good content and really good dudes. And I was like, I want to do that for Loyal.
Well, what all of you guys, I mean, maybe you don't realize, or you do realize, is that you're a necessity, 100% necessity. Because I'm saying this from a journalistic perspective. Maybe some you do know, maybe some you don't know, but just the amount of pitches that I've thrown to my editors when it comes to content for San Diego Loyal, whether it be from the numerous places that I've worked for, and they either don't listen to it or they either think, oh, well, maybe we'll work on that later. So because that doesn't happen, because on the Union Tribune, you don't have someone dedicated to the soccer scene. You don't have someone who's really dedicated, who's in tune with what's happening with not only Loyal, but also just with Sholos, with just also 1904 when they were around with soccer. It's just, you need people like yourselves to really keep people informed. Because if it wasn't all of you doing it, there wouldn't be that content out there. And if you're a diehard fan of the team, you wouldn't be able to access that if it wasn't for all of you guys. Like it just wouldn't be there. So I mean, I think it's obviously very cool that it's a passion, but I feel like you guys also have to recognize it's a necessity. It really is. Honestly, I think it's a necessity for a lot of soccer fans who want to be updated regularly about this and want Loyal to be treated like an actual professional team, as opposed to me going to the Union Tribune and flipping to page 6 and there's like 2 sentences about Loyal, you know, and I'm just like, all right, like cool, like I'm obviously completely like uninformed here. So I think once again, you guys are an absolute necessity, and that's why I follow all of you guys there. You know, I know what I would do without all of you. You know,
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Cesar Hernandez on the mic.
Man, Cesar, you are truly the MVP for not just one of us here, but you have also been very generous with your time and your wisdom per se. But yeah, I'll let everybody know that when Alan went and I saw him during that Orange County game, I think you guys are going to be happy to know that I think he was cheering for Loyal. I think.
Oh, that's good.
I think.
Nice job,
hell,
Alan.
Ellen.
I'm still not sure, but we'll let you guys decide when we all watch a game live.
Hey, to be fair, I actually had season tickets to Orange County their first season when they rebranded. And I have an Adidas hat, which was, by the way, really, really well done. Take note, San Diego Loyal. And it was like Adidas with a super nice crest in the front. And long story short, I'm with Alan. We just wanted soccer, right? And we have it at home now. So this is the cool part about it. For those of you that follow the Loyal Locals podcast and know about me, LAFC was around in MLS. That was the closest club that I could say, hey, that's my club. And so I kind of dove into that. And when this came around, like now I'm 100% in on this, and you guys can kind of see that. And I'm getting a lot of, hate because of it from LA, but hey, it is what it is. Like, this is our hometown. And to speak for Alan, and I think to speak for everybody here, we're just excited that there's so much content, and amazing content, by the way, from not just the Loyalists, not just from the Loyals, not just from Fairweather, not just from Two Balls, but from people like Cesar, who are very much seasoned veterans that have been writing for a long time, that actually this is like their bread and butter, and he's at home. So I'm excited to have Cesar on, and Chivas USA 2.0. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate that.
That's a very respected brand in Mexico. So yeah.
Love you, Cesar.
Thanks for the stats too, man. You're always helping us out too with getting our numbers right. So I think it's kind of like the beer industry here. I think we kind of share stuff a little bit. Like you'll hear a brewery sharing grain when somebody needs some, and they've got some extra in the freezer or whatever. All that kind of stuff. Usually hops are floating around a little bit here. From brewery to brewery. So I think it's kind of similar with this podcast a little bit. We'll just kind of trade bits here and there. Plus, it's just things that even if we don't talk about it, I'll hear about it on one show, and it'll kind of start a thought process that'll spin me off in a direction. Or I feel like, hey, they're covering that thought, so I don't have to go down that road. And I'm really glad they did, because they talked about it better than I did or would, for sure. So it's been nice too, being especially a kind of supporter-focused podcast and staying in our lane. It's helped having other podcasts that go off in different directions and do the profiles like Lance does, and does a lot of the kind of reaction and kind of game in, game out stuff like Fairweather does, has been fantastic. And then having Two Balls with the kind of greater sports focus, and obviously Darren and Jordan having the access, but also having their kind of tradition of tomfoolery has helped all of us, I think, in terms of finding our, not niche, but finding our lane for our podcast, which is always a difficult thing to decide what you want to talk about and how you want to talk about it are two different things. So thanks to everybody for that, and especially for the stats, bro.
Hey, Jordan and Darren are sold out, so we don't mention them anymore. All right, they're not. They get paid by the club. Drew, I just want to throw that out there.
Okay, Jordan and Jaron.
Darren.
Jordan and Jaron. Try to say that 5 times fast.
Wait, did Two Balls and a Mic even talk about how they got started? I feel like we got to hear from them.
Yeah, what about you?
They're moderating, but I feel like they got to say it, right?
Well, they were saying they saw me play soccer once, and I know that they talked to me about
he hated sports up until that moment where I just poetry in motion. I was like, I need to do that.
You were their muse. You were their muse.
I do remember you coming up and telling me at the Bracada stuff, like, we're going to start a podcast, we're going to do this thing. I'm like, sounds
like
great.
Super
Guys, like, get it
Campeones
going. I know it's
for you
hard to get it consistent. Here you are,
With the
a
old
number of
logo.
episodes in. So I'm like, it's cool. I saw like the kind of pre and knew where it was coming from, and have been excited to watch kind of the grow into what it is now. And it's episode in and out. Like, I'll still listen to some of the NFL. So I'm like, I don't even watch the NFL. I'm like, I'll listen though because I like their takes. I'll listen a little bit. So I enjoy it. But why'd you guys do it anyway?
So I mean, me and Tony met at work.
Tony and I.
Sorry.
El burro al último.
And honestly, we would always talk sports, and I didn't think he knew that I knew my shit because I'm a lot younger than him, like a lot younger than him.
All right, relax.
Like a lot younger than him.
So Tony's old. All right, good.
He told me out of nowhere, we should start a podcast. I was like, I don't know. I kind of barely knew Tony too, and I was like, I don't know, maybe. And then I don't know, he just gave me a piece of paper. He's like, write your top 11, like best squad. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we just started flowing a conversation, and I was like, you know what? All right, let's start swiping credit cards. Let's start buying stuff.
Swiping your credit card.
My credit cards.
But
in exchange, he does all the editing. So.
I do all the work.
You said doo-doo.
He's the he is the face and the wallet. I do the there we go. I do the dirty work.
I'm the Andrew of two balls in the mic.
But definitely, you forgot to mention that we were stranded for 8 hours reserving a fire pit at Mission Bay. And that's why we just started talking about, hey, what's your top Mexican top 11? What's your this and this? And then, we just vibed off of that, and you just knew. And I saw this young buckaroo just needing a little polishing, and we're still working on it, but we're working on it together. And definitely it's thanks to what we've seen from you guys and the response that you guys have given, because like you said, like everybody here is a listener pretty much to everybody else's podcast. And that's something fantastic that I don't know that there's another team that doesn't have beef. Like, I think like we should be Anchorman fighting at some point in the back alleys, but it's something
too
beautiful.
weak. I'm too weak.
I think I'd be more afraid of you. You're wearing a suit right now. As we welcome Chris Walker, also from Fairweather. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, what's up, Chris?
What up?
Yo.
Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, you guys have an is this going to be released in video? Are we going to be able to watch this?
Yes, we're going to upload this.
Okay, so there's an Octagon mask on your desk. I grew up watching Octagon, Máscara Sagrada, all of the AAA wrestlers. So like as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm these guys, you know what's up.
Oh heck.
What about Santo? I got a little poster up there for El Santo.
Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, dude, Blue Demon. Yeah, dude.
What's your favorite luchador, Drew? Alan?
What's a Nacho Libre?
Lucha Libre?
There's actually a dude there's actually a luchador Lucha Libre that happens in Milwaukee that was pretty awesome.
Whoa, that sounds cool.
They would have just rotating dudes come through, and they were all pretty fantastic. My friend was a promoter for it, so I'd go to that all the time, even when I lived there, which was always kind of like a taste of going home, which was fantastic. Just the food, the music, just everything was awesome. So that was always fun because I would get so drunk that I wouldn't remember any of the names of the luchadors, but it was a flying good time. But that was, yeah.
Is there there's Mexicans in Milwaukee?
Dude, we're everywhere, man.
Surprising
it's great.
amount.
It's great. Dude, we're everywhere, man. It's
National
fantastic.
Ave,
oh, it's great.
National Ave in Milwaukee has just as many Mexicans as National Ave in San Diego. Dude. It is the Mexican part of Milwaukee, and there is not great Mexican food. I will say that there's like 2 places that are passable.
I feel like if you make it in Milwaukee, you deserve to stay, regardless whether you have national.
Right.
I just like their surf and turf burritos. That's my favorite thing about it. Okay. You're talking about wrestling. I thought you were talking about Mexican food there for a second.
You can take the queso out the white, but you can't take the white out.
I can't say anything to Alan because he saved my life during the first game at the Loyals. So I can't say, like, literally Alan can say anything about my culture, about my wife, about my kid. He can say whatever he wants. He saved my life.
Wait,
I don't know if you
Jerry.
want to jump into that story, but we'll talk.
Yeah, I want to hear the story, Jerry.
Yeah, let's hear that story.
Go for it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we were March 7, 2020. Is that what it was? March 7th?
Bong bong.
Yeah.
Is this a Law and Order episode? Bong bong.
Boom. So I was there. We don't have a capo, but I decided to take over in the supporters group section and stand on Alan's bass drum. And Alan literally looks at me and goes, "No one stands on my bass drum, but you. I'm gonna make an exception today." I was like, "Holy shit! All right, this means a lot. So I better not mess this up." And so I stood, and there's pictures of it too. Maybe we can, I'll send you some pictures later. But I'm actually on his bass drum screaming at the crowd. There was maybe like 300-400 in our section at that point, and we're getting the crowd pumped and stuff. And I'm leaning back, and I've had, for some reason, beers just keep appearing in my hands, and I'm like, oh my god, what is going on? Alan knows, so he's shaking his head yes, because he's like, dude, where are these beers
Right by my
coming
head, like.
from? And Alan's like, I think we're going to have to tie a belt to you or something and put some sort of harness on you, bro, because you're going to fall over. And if you guys know the stadium at USD, like it is high up there.
Yeah.
And I'm like slipping, and he actually pulled me back. He like had the drumsticks and somehow like grabbed me with the drumsticks and held me back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. So anyways, I owe my life to Alan because I would have definitely fallen if it wasn't for him.
Now,
Okay.
I
was
can't
this
wait to be in the
before you dropped your phone, Jerry?
Oh, I dropped. Yes, and I dropped my phone, and Tony saved it and grabbed it and threw it at me.
Oh, no.
And
Johannes, the security guard.
Security guard Johannes.
Shout out Johannes, who
Never forget.
we got an extra shift to work the next home game.
Which never
I
happened.
told the security, their boss, hey, this guy's so good, save this guy's phone. He got in there. I couldn't fit. He slid in, saved the day. This guy deserves an extra shift the next day. We hang out. They were like, yes, great. And I think we all know the fact that there was, unfortunately, no next home game. And I think with that, March 7th is great, and it hurts a little bit just to kind of think because it was the last home game. But let's talk a little bit more about the team itself and after March 7th, because I think on everybody's respective podcast, we have Ken Burns' amount of film to compile about that day. But what do you guys think about the team? I mean, guys, we've had a team here in San Diego for an entire season, whatever you may want to make of it. But what do you think of the team that represents your city, the team that you support, the team that day in, day out is a reflection of the people that they play in front of and play for?
Lance, we haven't heard from you for a while, or Chris. You're joining in. Let's get you.
That's right. We'll get Lance first. I was looking for my boy Jake to be on the call, for that matter.
He didn't want to show up, man. He was like, "Nah, it's about the local Loyals."
Boo!
You
I'm about to
handle it.
screenshot him and let him know how he's missing out.
But
For
yeah,
sure.
as far as what I think about the team, man. God, I love the team, bro. I love the team. I love everything about the team, man. I love the way they were playing the first season. I was extremely impressed when we got the 3 new signings. That was a happy day for me. I was frustrated, I think, as most people were with our finishing technique. I was always screaming at the TV, wondering why we couldn't put it in back of the net. I just couldn't understand that. And then when you got Guido, Rubio, and Barry coming in, it changed our whole lineup, and I loved it. Let me ask you guys a question.
He's asking questions now.
Yeah, because here's my thing, dude. I trip out, one, because I'm so used to a transfer window, and USL doesn't have a transfer window, so it's just like players are coming and going whenever we need them. But my big thing, and I just want to get a consensus from you guys, dude. What the hell was up with Ben Spencer coming in every game, dude? I just didn't understand why Francis would be taken out and Spencer would be put in. I had a hard time with Spencer going in, and every time he came in, I'm like, fuck, there goes the game. Oh shit, we're done. Spencer's in.
I'm gonna weigh in on that one.
I'm just curious about what all you guys think as far as loyal fans and watching the team, man.
I mean, y'all had. I mean, I guess this is breaking the net, but I mean, word is, from sources, y'all had Spencer way back in the day when it was slipped out at that Soccer's match. And then all of a sudden, sources say that he was not on the team because the flow wasn't flowing, and they brought in some other person from FC Dallas for free. So then all of a sudden, that's kind of what your team was. And then at some point, I guess the flow was flowing again, right? Sources say. And then Spencer reappeared on your team. Now, as far as him being in the game and then he maybe not being your favorite sub or the how the match would be, you got to understand, like, okay, so watching Spencer last year, like, he had a serious, like, game change, like, come up. Like, he was playing FC Tucson. He was impressing, doing some things there, you know, scoring some goals. And, of course, FC Tucson then is obviously owned by Phoenix Rising, right? So, right. Not anymore.
It used to be. Not anymore. It used to be,
right.
But yeah.
That's right. The side girl formerly known as. But anyways, so then he was doing things for Phoenix Rising. He was coming in, kind of making some things happen, right? So essentially you get a piece from, like, the Phoenix Rising, you know what I mean? Like, catalog, if you will. So while it may seem like maybe, like, he takes away from all that speed up front that you have, like he's a player for sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely, like, going to be a different kind. And I think that when Loyal have more consistent weapons up front, and I mean that to say that, like, you know, because if you look at it, I mean, you really had one dude up front, maybe two, and then it was apparent that we needed more, right? That sort of attack was, like, missing something big every single time. It would, if Atuaheni has so much speed, you know what I'm saying, or Moshabani, but it's like they lacked that third person, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think Ben Spencer is going to give you. And I just think he has a lot of experience to bring. And
when, Chris? When is he gonna give us? That's what I
Never.
want.
I mean, what else?
Never.
Are
hold
you
up.
saying that because he's from New Mexico, bro?
No, not only because of that, but I will, and I'm just messing. But the real is that he's gonna bring it to you. Your first pick. This is a way different year than what it would be. Like, I mean, this cat was looking for a spot, then all of a sudden he didn't have a spot. It's COVID, and, you know, your club kind of pulled El Paso, kind of pulling in players in the middle of the season and stuff, and, you know, so, I mean, don't worry, like, you know, Cat's going to do what he's going to do for y'all, but you need a little bit more of a regular year. Dudes need to know where they're playing, and, like, they're going to get paid so they can, like, lace up those sneaks, you know what I mean, and get some eats and everything.
Yeah, I think I just had a hard time with him, dude, when he had that shot in front of the net and he tried to do some back heel bullshit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Poke that bitch in with your toe. What are you doing this heel trick shit for?
It was very Jordan Carruth soccer. I'm gonna keep bringing that shit back because that was hilarious. And no offense, for Jordan Carruth, that's a very hard play. For a number 9 in a professional setting, you got to get a boot on that.
Yeah, and I do think to be with kind of Chris for a second on this, I do think he was making a lot of the runs that Rubio and you know, Barry are making now is exactly the same sort of thing. They're just better natural finishers. They're also better carriers of the ball. He's not as good at that. I do think that that's what our team was crying out for, was some guys who would get forward and be a big target. Parra was good at doing that, even though he wasn't big. Once you lost him, you lost some elements of that, I think. And that's where Ben, trying to be that on his own, struggled for sure. But it did seem futile. It seemed when you brought him in, it was just like admitting defeat, kind of like certain teams have that player where you just, when you bring him on, you're like, oh, man, there goes the game. That's it. But so they turned it around, and it's a long career, right? He can always come back, and, you know, each season is different. Players are very radically different sometimes season to season. But agreed, it was a frustrating thing to watch. Now it's exciting because we got so many options to possibly put something in, and hopefully against Phoenix here, we'll see.
I mean, the thing is, just like, as much as I would love to dive in, like, to a tactical conversation about Loyal.
Come on. That's why you're here, bro.
No, but, like, the thing is, like, the original question is just kind of like about Loyal in their first season. You have to realize that like you need players like him to complement what they've clearly tried to do recently, which is try to bring a lot of local talent, you know? So, I mean, here's the thing, maybe maybe it's a little too of a simplified statement to make, but I mean, when you look at the way that Loyal play, when you look at the fact that they're trying to bring in local talent, and you see a dude who's in his mid-20s, he's what, 6'5"? What, he's a big dude. Like you see him, he has youth national team experience. He's had, I mean, limited MLS experience from what I've seen. So you think that would kind of complement and work what's been working with the rest of the team. Granted, it hasn't been as successful as many of us think it has been. You know, I've definitely criticized him as well. But I think when you take a step back and look at the rest of the squad, I mean, for a debut season for a team that has had to go through what they've had to go through and just unprecedented times, like this, it's not bad. It's not bad. You can see not only just an identity, but an identity that's slowly had to adapt to. You can see where Landon initially was just like, cool, let's do some variation of a 3-5-2. Once again, we don't have to dive into tactics. It's going to be a little boring. We can do like a little bit like a 3-5-2, just make this like exciting soccer. And then you can see him slowly adapt to be like, no. Maybe let's do a little more of a 4-4-2 defensively, be a little bit more practical, but then maybe when we going forward, it turns into a 3-5-2. Whatever. Tactics, whatever, boring. But I think
Phoenix broke the team. Phoenix broke the team.
But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's a debut season for a team that, like, I think when you look at what they've done so far, like, I don't think it's bad. Maybe I'm saying this as someone who is just I try to look at every soccer team other than the Mexican national team. That's the only team I root for. Maybe the Quakes, but don't see that. But yeah, the Mexican, that's the only team I root for. So I'm trying to say this from someone who's who's trying to be like a level playing field. But I think they've been doing all right for their first season. I think they've been doing okay.
You know what? I do like that, Cesar. I'm gonna back you up on that. I'm gonna say loyal. Yeah, I'm gonna say loyal fans got a little too entitled quickly.
Yeah,
like
you do okay.
Y'all were
I'll take that. That's fair.
Peaking early, and I know it all too well from a year before. Peaking all too fast, and I was like, man, they gotta slow down. They gotta slow down because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen where it hits that peak and it's going and then people are going to be pissed and our team sucks and it's just like San Diego, and I knew it. And then what I'm really happy about though is I'm really happy that as me and Alan are on Fairweather Pod and we're trying to figure out these last 4 matches, and there was no way we could be like, yeah, we're just going to roll into Phoenix and take 3. Because you can't say that about Phoenix. Like, you watch them play long enough, there was just no way you could be saying that confidently. Like, we could mess around and say, oh, we're going to beat Phoenix like 5-0. But, like, you never hear me doing that on the show because I know where to cut the BS, right? So, but it's like to look at it and go, okay, got 3 on Phoenix. That's tight. Made some unthinkables happen with, LA and Las Vegas. It's a different picture. Now it's like Phoenix can't even clinch group because there's still some stuff that can happen. And I think that, going into this, if I remember from the beginning, it was like, oh, Phoenix is a surefire. Orange County and San Diego are going to have to figure it out. And I mean, things are different. You know what I mean? Like y'all, Loyal has ultimately like made it hard for Phoenix, and even Orange County. It isn't as easy as it appeared to be.
So I got 2 things. First one is any team that goes 3-0 against LA, 2-0 against Orange County, and goes to Phoenix and beats them.
Tell them.
That's a successful season.
Tell them.
I don't care. That's a successful season.
One more time for the people in the back.
Second of all, if this is a regular season, Loyal right now is like 1.5 something points per game. That is good for a playoff game, for sure. Right now, they're sitting 7th in the West. 7th in the West, and they've had to play Phoenix twice already, Orange County 3 times. They've had to play the big dogs in the West. They are sitting 7th in the West right now. If this was regular season, they'd be looking at fighting for a playoff match or hosting a play-in game. And if you told me at the beginning of the season that San Diego Loyal will be signed up for a home game as a play-in game, I'd be like, I'm there for that twice. Like, I think that's the thing that Loyal fans to realize, that yes, we're on the outside looking in on the playoffs. Orange County and LA have games in hand and are more likely to make the playoffs. But in a regular, like in before times, Loyal has a great season right now. And what they've shown is we are not going to rest on the players that we have. We're going to go out and we're going to address the needs mid-season. Like normal season, they're probably like, we're going to play 14 games and then we're going to go out and get some people. And that's usually around July. This season, it's September. And what they've shown is that commitment to bring a winning team, to get the players they need to be competitive. And they went on, and like if they don't make the playoffs, it's still a successful season because they went on that run. And 3-0 against LA when LA is playing well, 2-0 against Orange County, and went into Phoenix and outplayed Phoenix. If you like, Rick Schantz was like, yep, they outplayed us. Like, you give up 3 goals, you're not going to win games. Sorry. Like, San Diego outplayed Phoenix. Now, the LA game, I'm not going to get into, but I think as Loyal fans and someone who's looking outside as a neutral realizes that San Diego is here to play. They're going to be in contention for a playoff position every year, and they're not someone you're going to be able to sleep on. And that's something I can say in year one to be proud of. Like, year one team sure made playoffs last year in the West, but I mean, there's good teams that aren't making it this year. In the East, like Indy or St. Louis, are not going to make it. And those are 2 really solid teams. There's going to be bad teams that make the playoffs, like an Austin Bold or a Tulsa Roughnecks or whatever they're called now, FC. San Diego should be very proud of their team. They should realize that, yes, they might not make the playoffs, but this isn't like the Padres where it's going to be forever before they make the playoffs and it's going to be this huge sigh of relief.
Hey.
And congratulations to the Padres.
Hey.
They're like 100% behind them.
Yes,
But Loyal is going to be that team that's in that conversation every year, and they've proved it this year. And I'm like extremely excited to see what a normal 34 game season looks like for them.
Add more games because
yes,
Oakland's coming in, so the Califas is bigger, right?
Love Oakland. Love Oakland. And then tactically, I love, like, Cesar and I go back and forth about what are we watching right now? What is this? Who's there? Who's there playing? So I get my tactics like behind the scenes, and I like love every minute of that.
And that's a huge part of why, you know, it's so great to be able to talk with so many different people, because there's so many different ways to view the same thing, and especially the game and how it should be approached. And, you know, we have those differing views, and at the end of the day, we have not necessarily that much of a say in what happens with what people, who gets put on, you know, on the roster, on the lineup on that day. But what we can do is support and make our voices as loud as possible. But moving away a little bit from what happens on the pitch, I want to talk a little bit about what Loyal has been doing off the pitch, because some of the movement, some of the I don't even know, like I'm even including like the social media that Loyal has, the great people that they have in the front office. I would just want to go over, and I'll start maybe with either Jerry or Drew. What has been your favorite off the field Loyal thing? I guess I don't even know what to say, just thing. You know, like super open ended, but I'll let you guys have at it with that.
Go ahead, Drew.
Okay. For me, it's somewhat shallow and self-centered in some ways, and then I'll have one that's more community-based. For me, it's definitely the name. I think was kind of an exciting process to be part of, leading up to finding out we're going to have a team, finding out it was for real, meeting the people behind it, finding out that they're legit and good-natured people, and generally just like having this sense of these are people who know exactly what people want here, even if they're not from here, even if they maybe had moved away and moved back. They were people who understood the core essence of what people here wanted and are looking for in terms of a soccer product. They had that knowledge, but they also wanted to drill into, which was a kind of damaged thing to look at, is the San Diego sports psyche and what we wanted for, the next 100 years. And, in that process, turned a lot of people, including myself, and had us come in and just kind of tell them everything they wanted to do. and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for and what I want, and they listen to us for hours and on end in terms of different listening sessions and all sorts of things from different communities that didn't even consider soccer. So to me, the idea of that set the stage for, we're not just going to be interested in the soccer community, but we're going to be interested in the community at large. And so for me personally, it was fantastic to be involved, and it kind of brought me into understanding them. But in terms of the next step of kind of being part of that community and not just introducing yourself and saying, hey, we're just figuring out what to call ourselves, but what do you think? And how do we fit in? The next step is actually fitting in and doing that for the community. And in every step, it seems like choosing a partner, choosing Stone, who not only was there, and I'll point at this again, they do distribute other people's beer as well. So it's not just Stone, but Stone as a company. It's obviously Stone Brewing they're highlighting, but choosing somebody who's helped lift up other independent breweries locally initially is a huge deal, as well as Rady's Children's and certain brands that are just immutable to San Diegans that they want to partner with, but also off the field in terms of, as you said, just the activism and the ability to have a chairman who is young enough, and they touted this when they had Andrew come out, and we didn't know a ton about him, but we knew he was young, and because of that, socially being not just bent towards a certain way because of his generation, but also somebody who's dialed in on the pulse of what people feel and think is awesome. So to me, that's been the cool thing, is to watch that kind of ethos and knowing these people and knowing that they're great people, but not all organizations let their people speak as freely or express themselves this way. This group definitely has, and has been that through the core. And to me, it's been exciting to kind of watch that. For me, is off the field, developing that kind of partnership. Obviously, I think the thing that I'm most proud of at this point is probably just the jerseys themselves, the Black Lives Matter jerseys, and the idea of, kind of getting in with that stance to say, this is something we're going to do for a long time. And it's something that is, non-negotiable, from putting the name on the back of the jersey. And it's something that we really, really believe in, not just beyond this campaign of kneeling, but to, obviously take it to the fullest extent when necessary. So to me, that's been the proudest moment, is watching that through line. But I'll open it up for Jerry a little bit.
Come here, dude. Come here.
What Drew said.
That air hug, man.
6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet.
What Drew said.
What Drew said. No, I agree. 100%. I think that for us, it's just the openness that the club has given us and willing to work with us. I made a joke on Twitter about, hey, we all got together because you guys won't give us Guido, but they've been working on getting us players, and they're always willing to work with us as media, which we're not. We're supporters. You guys maybe a little bit more media, but I think we all have, exactly, quote unquote media, Alan.
That's all Cesar.
We all
He's the only legitimate one.
we all have a different
Caesar's a check
perspective.
mark.
We all add into the culture in such a way that it's very much needed. Like Cesar said, we're all specifically doing a different job. We may be on a podcast, but it's different in such a way that we're all adding to the community. We're all adding to what it is that this is supposed to be all together as a family. And so the club, I think, going back to your question, is, what we have enjoyed from the club is the fact that they're open to us, that they welcome us in, and they're like, hey, you guys are all a part of this. What do you need from us? And not a lot of clubs do that. I want you guys to understand that. Like, not a lot of clubs are willing to do that. I think all of us kind of know that already. I think all of us have experience enough to where we understand how unique this club is, and to have it, just a few miles away from us, it's pretty great. So that's all I'm going to add.
No, definitely.
we gotta give a shout. I mean, have we not given enough of a shout out to locals? I mean, just like, I obviously,
Who's that?
a handful of you like represent the locals, but I think if we're talking about the growth of what's been happening recently behind the scenes, like, we gotta give you guys like an immense amount of credit, at least from the glimpses that I've seen. Like, I've always had to, portray myself as a little bit of a fly on the wall when it comes to what you guys are doing. But I mean, if we're talking about the growth of Loyal, then we also have to discuss the growth of the locals, which has kind of been on the same track. It's been fascinating just to see, like, we're talking once again behind the scenes stuff. I mean, what was it? Last November, you guys had that meeting at Border X where you guys were, dishing out like the official roles within the organization. I think it was, I have it written down here. I think it was, in February. I think there was about 12 of you. They were like practicing songs, over at USD. And then within a matter of days, it was just an entire stand filled with flags and chants and that friendly against Costa del Este. So if we're talking about the growth of Loyal, we're talking about what's happening behind the scenes. I think we got to give a lot of credit to the locals too, just because it's been absolutely incredible just to see what you guys have been doing, and it's so, and I mentioned this, I think the last time I was here in the Two Balls and a Mic podcast, just how unfortunate it was for you guys to be building and building and building and building and building. And yes, you had that inaugural match, but just to have everything taken away from you, obviously for things completely not from your control, but just for you guys to not only have to, adapt to that, but to also like build upon that again, looking towards the next season. And just, man, I don't know. I have to give you guys so much credit just for what you guys have been like, not only gone through the last several months, but just what you did beforehand, building up to that debut season, and now looking forward to the next season. And just, I don't know. I can't imagine all that work you guys are doing right now.
And
Thanks,
it goes,
man.
definitely goes hand in hand with the club, and that's the important thing too. Is not only is it important to realize that not every club gives you access like this, but not every club is so open to the supporters group and just working so hand in hand with them, and even to the point where there was disagreements at times in the season, and those got worked out in a civil manner. There wasn't any faction. Yeah,
I think what helps a lot is that SD Loyal is super interactive with their social media with fans in general. You can tweet at them and they'll even like it, and they'll even reply, even if you have 5 followers on Twitter. So I think that's what's great about the team. Even Landon is super interactive. So us as fans and having that interaction with the team that we watch on TV or even live, I think that just motivates every single one of us to invest even more time into this club. And I think that's great, honestly.
I think the word that I like to use is accessible, right?
Yes.
These guys are absolutely accessible. So shout out to Ryan and Jesse and the media team that are just killing it. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah,
Man.
Kate as well.
Yeah, they'll even let you know that they release players on the spot.
Which they don't have to do.
yeah, no, they don't. I mean,
I wish they were a little bit more open about some things, but they don't necessarily have to. To be fair, they are actually pretty open about stuff. So,
which
most of them
Totally.
are willing to talk about stuff like that.
is a good segue into Lance. I saw you a couple of times over. I saw the Loyalist podcast be represented in a front row and in this new era with no fans. But in general, and we'll kick it off with you. What do you think Loyal as an organization, as a sports team, as a soccer team, as a community member, what do you think Loyal can improve on or do better? And then, again, same open to everybody.
Oh man, dude, that's a great question and a tough one at the same time. Just because this is my first really encounter with a new professional sports team. Like I mean, as far as I was concerned, man, going to the first match was amazing. I thought Ricardo Campos and his team did an amazing job putting the stadium together. I mean, when you were driving up the street and you saw the Loyal banners and the flags just put in the grass and creating like some sort of walkway, I thought that was beautiful. And I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't expect that. And then with Casey Patterson and his ticketing team, like just calling up people, like Jerry was saying, very accessible. Like I thought the front office did a tremendous job just keeping everything like all in contact. In fact, I remember I'm sitting on the couch. I forget, it was during the COVID time, right? I'm sitting on the couch and all of a sudden my phone rings and I pick it up and he's like, Lance? And I'm like, yeah, this is Lance. And he's like, hey, Lance, this is Landon Donovan. I'm like, oh, bullshit. Who is this? And he's like, nah, this is Landon Donovan. I'm like, all right, man, who is it really? He's like, no, it's Landon Donovan. I'm like, Landon? He's like, yeah, I just wanted to call and say thanks for being a ticket member. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Landon Donovan calling me. Like, come on, man. What other club does that? Like, it was amazing, you know? So as far as just the little things, I thought, man, they paid attention to detail. I thought, their front office team was put together well. I loved Warren, Andrew, Landon. I mean, and just going back to what Cesar said to Drew and Jerry about the locals. I remember when I first showed up at the first match, man, and you guys had everything already set up. It was tremendous, dude. I mean, I know there was a lot of work behind the scenes. I don't know everything that went on, but man, it showed there. And I know it was just our first game, so everybody's finding, how to do things and how things are going to run and work. But guys, I can't wait till next season, honestly, bro. I really can't. I applaud all of the locals leadership team, dude, because honestly, I know it's probably a hard job, and I know you probably get a lot of suggestions and talking points coming at you guys, but man, you guys done an outstanding job. So hats off to you guys, man.
Thanks, man.
Hey, man, I want to add to the roast.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say for trying to say what they should improve.
Everybody, can you cut Chris's mic,
awesome.
please? Thanks.
right. I want to add. No, honestly, from being where I'm at, and of course having a local who is there, I've heard nothing but good things, from you two and the rest of your crew and everything that y'all have done. I mean, from the get-go, everything has been has been just very like cohesive. I mean, from those initial tifos y'all were painting, the coasters are dope. I got mine here, and I mean, everything has been sick. And I mean, really, I've seen a lot of it from afar. I've seen decisions y'all have made. I mean, like who you may have reached out to, to kind of, some good respect on the name, you know what I mean? Put some good words to it. Y'all really haven't done, I mean, you've done a lot, and you haven't done anything that was like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I mean, and that being said, like you're heavily involved, and to the fact of what Lance was saying, like y'all are even open-minded. I mean, I think about that time when we were on a pod together, you guys were obviously very open to, other people's suggestions. I'm seeing this community like grow, we're seeing other efforts come about, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I was really hoping to obviously be at that Labor Day match, and being at a few others as well, so obviously when it comes to next season, I'm trying to be at several of those matches for sure, trying to get the fly out, trying to get back to Lucha Libre tacos, because I need to sit in that golden seat for sure.
There you go. No, just thank you, man. I just really quick wanted to say that this doesn't happen, and the reason that the locals are as good as they are is because I think that people like Drew, people like Steve, people like Daryl, people like our leadership honestly has set such a foundation where it's like, hey, let's not be closed-minded. Let's open it up to if there is suggestions. If somebody does want to add to this, this is for them. This is not for us. We're going to just kind of create a foundation, and then everybody's going to build on that foundation. And that foundation is not even done being built yet. This is year 1, right? So going into this, just 0.5. And you guys know that I said 2021. So anyways, Alan.
It's year 0, Jerry. We're starting in 2021. You got your wish.
No. But it's the idea of building together and really making it San Diego is what's making it as good as it is. We experienced just a taste. And Lance said, the first game was amazing. You guys did a great job. Man, I wish you would have seen what we had in store for this coming game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what that was. And I am so excited to think of what we're going to be able to build together with all of you guys. So I appreciate your guys' kind words. We are doing a lot of work, and it's honestly, all of you guys are a part of it. And if you if anybody that's listening wants to add to it, it's about you all. It's not about us, one individual. It's us all building together, which is why I'm so excited to be a part of this with you guys. Is, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us here right now, but there's so many more people that you don't get to see behind the scenes that are doing so much work to make this what it is. So we appreciate you guys listening, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We love it, man.
Very
And
excited.
actually, we actually have a little bit of breaking news.
Whoa.
Ooh,
Jordan Caruth says the Unnamed Soccer Podcast sends its love tonight. Have fun. So shout out to them.
Feels like a trick.
sold out.
Hacks.
I'm just reading it. Don't shoot the messenger.
No, we love those guys.
Definitely.
I'm just kidding. They know that.
They're great guys.
Yeah.
They had someone we didn't have a name, Jerry. So they're good people.
They still don't have a name.
Um,
How do we all have names and they don't have a name? Whatever.
Yeah.
Drew, do you
We
want
went through
to?
3 years of naming stuff. What's that?
Right. You said you wanted to. You had a few suggestions for the
Oh,
team.
I have some suggestions, but we were very positive, and everybody shared the love with us. That was great. I think there was stuff that, as Chris was saying, stuff that we put out that he wasn't like, ooh. There's even stuff we put out that I've been like, ooh. I'm just kidding. But there is stuff internally that we bat back and forth until we understand it. There is a sense of make me understand this. I don't like this, but make me understand it, because I don't want to be on the wrong side of this. I don't want to be right. I want to get it right. And that's like where we come from as a group, is totally that mentality of getting it right for everybody, because again, this is all our hopes and dreams, and we've put so much into this that I think we can see we've just lost it and been so close to it so many times that I think we see the fragility of it all. And we know that, luckily this is such a solid foundation, and that's how we had to build it, is to make sure that it's going to withstand all these different storms. And we built this lighthouse that people can come to. So I appreciate you guys on that, because it's hard manning the lighthouse, especially when it's lonely sometimes. So it's weird.
When there's no Jason Momoa at the end of at the dock, huh?
No, exactly. It's there's no special powers to it. It's more of the Lighthouse film with what's his face from Twilight, and then Willem Dafoe, where they apparently got super drunk and it was actually in a lighthouse. Anyway, it's all black and white.
Your next tattoo.
Yeah.
That black and
that's
white
where we
movie
were.
that nobody saw? No one saw
Yeah.
that movie.
No, I'm over here drinking wine. Yeah, that's my problem.
Oh, shoot.
So
Rosé.
yeah, as I say, like, my elitist self over here. Yeah, that's right. I get to have beer during our podcast. We did it yesterday. I'm doing wine
Oh,
tonight.
okay, fine.
you gotta switch it up. No,
So things the club we get more wine choices at the venue. But really, I think one of the things I really wanted to see them do more of, they're already doing, but I think they should continue more of it, is embracing the Leal side. It was one of those things we talked about when the name came out, was that, hey, this name's great, but it really doesn't embrace much south of the 94 with the crest and with the name. The name is there, loyal to San Diego, but it felt like the branding didn't really reach that way, and that Leal was obviously on the table there. That made sense, or just kind of embracing that side of it with SAP and using Spanish language, influence as well. And I think that they've been driving that with their pre and post show and driving that direction. I think they can always pull in two balls for more of that flavor as well. So you guys should definitely be on their call sheet for next season if they choose to do some more kind of media pieces, for sure. But for me, I think that's something that I'd love to see them do more organic stuff that's just more involved in that, as opposed to just kind of checking boxes. But I know they can. That's why I'm kind of pointing in that direction, versus saying, here's something that's super, sign Van Dyke or whatever. It's like, yeah, that'd be great. But have him and Joe play alongside each other. But realistically, I think that's something that obviously is on the table that all of us have heard them say they really want to do, and I think that they could do a little bit more of. But with 2020, it's always you have to prioritize, and being able to keep their staff and keep operating, keep the lights on as normal. That was priority number one, and then priority number two will be kind of trying to find those areas that maybe they couldn't grow as much, just given that they had to keep running. So that's my big one. And then beyond that, it would be getting us back, creating a vaccine so we can all get back in the stadium. I think that's something they can really work on as a club. I think
Landon,
it's lacking
get
a
on
bit.
that. What we're doing over here, coaching. I mean,
that would be it. Just those two things. The
Yeah.
second one's kind of like it's easy. You can knock it out over a weekend.
And shout out to Chavos de Loyal for bringing a lot of that flavor to the table too. I think there's room that people are stepping up into.
And that's the kind of stuff we could have had, as Jerry was saying, that we just couldn't grow. Right, we didn't have the space.
Yeah.
They were there; those guys were there with us, with Alan, with all of us singing that first game. They just weren't called Chavos yet, and it's still forming. Right,
I'm definitely
Kevin had
definitely-
a large part of saving my life along with Aaron, actually.
Yeah.
There
I'm
was a lot
definitely
of
bummed
life
I'm-
saving. I saved Warren's life. There
Right?
was a lot of slippery bleachers there. Alan.
I'm bummed I missed their shirt because I think they are. I think organically there's some things that are going to happen that are going to fill some of those voids, like the Rainbow Loyal, the Chavos de Loyal, like we see with some of the Black supporters groups already in existence in USL. I think there's some things that can happen organically that just haven't had enough time. The thing that I would like to see better from Loyal, they were groundbreaking hiring Kerry Taylor. They made history by hiring Kerry Taylor and have introduced a variety. I shouldn't say a variety. That's the wrong word. But they really focus on trying to create
Binders full of women. Is that what you're getting to?
right, binders full of
Assorted.
women, yes. But I would like to see Loyal continue to go that direction of groundbreaking hires that really work on creating a diverse group in the front office, diverse group in the coaching staff, and they've done a decent job. I would like to see them and like the Roots kind of be the Northern and Southern California push to really bring a diverse culture to USL that's kind of been lacking. And they, like I said, they've been a little bit groundbreaking, but I'd like to see them go further. I'd like to see them step into some things and give people an opportunity to work in positions that aren't typically held by non-white guys. And I would like to see them continue to push that envelope. And I have faith that they will, based on the people that are around them. But I'm still going to encourage them, because it's not quite there yet, to continue to break down those barriers and be that guiding light of the USL to say, we are going to create the most diverse coaching staff, the most diverse players, the most diverse front office, and we're going to show people and give people a chance to really be successful in a way that hasn't been the case in U.S. soccer. I mean, even look at the hiring the men's national team coach, like, oh, he doesn't speak English. It's like you missed on so many people that are really, really good just because they didn't check all of the right boxes. Like, nah, forget that. I think Loyal has a role to play and has a job to do in breaking down those barriers, and they've done it once and they've done it twice. I think that they can continue to step into that and really create and show teams that you can create a diverse group of coaches and front office staff that is also very successful and give people a shot. And I have faith that they'll do that. But that's kind of the one thing that I'm hoping that they continue to do.
Definitely. And they have done a great job. And going a little bit back to what Drew was saying, keeping their staff and the lights on was huge. And you can tell we had an interview with Andrew where he started talking about that. And I told him, what's the best thing that you guys have done over this pandemic? Having radies done, having all those social awareness movements happening. And for him, it seemed like he was incredibly proud of the fact that he was able to keep everybody on board, and that is huge, I believe. And he even got emotional a little bit. But again, that's the foundation of this club, with players like Zizzo, who are from here. The point that they're making of, hey, look, these guys might not get as many play time as they should, or some get too much play time, but hey, they're local. But those are the roots of this club, and this city is responding well to that. And I think they are doing a lot of things right. And I think that for the most part, I think they've captivated the city where they wanted to, and some. And that's in spite of a pandemic. And again, Cesar, you're the most professional out of all of us here. No,
He's the only professional. Come on.
The only professional. Yeah, I'll give you that. What does this look like as far as, in the mainstream, in a sense, this movement of San Diego coming out with a team like this that is listening to their community, listening to their fans? Sometimes they get into arguments because they flip a crest upside down, and that's its own thing. But with that, what's your vision of what this club has given the city and what this city has given this club?
Well, first off, I felt a little weird because I decided to have the delicious IPA. And I was like, oh God, maybe I shouldn't decide to open that since it has a upside down beer. But here's at least from my perspective, once again, I'm also saying this as someone, like, I have to recognize this too. Like, I'm someone who's only lived in San Diego since 2016. I know I've been here now for a few years, but I consider myself to be still at this point a newbie. I still see this as almost a honeymoon period, if you will. I do think this is a little bit more of a honeymoon period for all involved. I think everybody should be really excited. I think everybody, things are going pretty well between the fans, between the team, and I think the team has made the right steps. From here, they have a strong foundation, and it's building off that foundation. And I think the way they can build off of is clearly just by what you guys just said there, whether it be from what Drew said, whether it be from what Alan said, that you guys provided some perfect examples. It was, you guys took the words right out of my mouth, what exactly the team could potentially be doing. So I think it's promising. I think there is an exciting amount of potential. At least, if we're looking at what's happening on the field, because in the end, we could say all we want about, what the team is doing for outreach, what the team is doing from social media, what the team is doing. I don't know, a lot of stuff that happens off the field, but what a lot of fans care about ultimately is what's happening on the field. And regardless of anything we can say, what they care about is whether the team's winning or not, whether they're qualifying for playoffs, whether they're getting championships. And you can see with the recent additions that Loyal have made that this is a team that's willing to make those changes to find success quickly. And are they going to do that within the near future? Are they going to do that when you no longer have an Alejandro Guido? If Guido, who knows? Maybe you guys know more than I do. Maybe there's an option here for Guido to potentially be signed. As maybe he's just at the very end of the season. Who knows? Because he's on loan right now from LAFC. But when you have someone like that potentially leaving the team, do you make another big signing? Do you find a replacement for him? Because as all of you know, USL is, as much as people who don't follow the USL or follow lower league soccer, it's an extremely competitive league. You don't have to watch much USL to recognize that it is extremely, extremely competitive. So is Landon and those that are in charge willing to make that investment? Are they willing to make those big signings? Are they willing to, I don't know, once again, build off of what they're doing? We'll see. I think once again, it's promising. There's a lot of potential. I feel like what they've done so far has been, I don't think you can criticize much of what they've done, in their first season, but we'll see what happens in 2021. But I definitely feel that they should be building off this. I think that they will continue to do so.
I cannot thank anybody. I don't even know, man. This is not water. Also, but I cannot thank you guys enough for taking the time in such an important day, a debate day. We could all have done our civil duty and listen to that for a bit, but you guys gave us the honor to be here with us. We're going to wind it down here a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and have you guys give out MVP awards. I still have yours from the Community COVID Shield, Alan, that never made it. But
bring it to the game. Bring it to the match tomorrow.
I got you. Perfect. You'll get it. You'll finally get it. And somehow you guys split up a $50 Best Buy gift card amongst three of you. You guys.
Because someone messed with the mail, so we couldn't send it.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's what you got. Look, that's what he got. Yep. But our last question, if you guys can give out 3 MVPs to the club, it could be player, it can be coaching staff, it can be the custodial staff. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that, Cesar. Couldn't make it happen.
Just looking forward to that pod, man.
Yeah, no, they're conflict of schedule. But anybody could go ahead and start. Give us your top 3 standouts from Loyal in year 1. And thank you guys again for doing this. If you want to tag it with your with your ats, with your handles. You can also do that. Go, nose goes.
All right. Apparently, I'm going to go first because I have to get going.
A hard
So
stop.
this is Jerry, by the way. I have a hard stop. I have to 4 minutes. So follow me at Cheeto Jerry. Make sure you follow the locals at the locals SG on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and make sure you check out our podcast. For me, I'm going to pick a player. I'm going to pick one from coaching staff, and I'm going to pick one from the front office. Okay. So let's go with player first and foremost. I have to pick Elijah Martin. I think that he has been one of the most consistent players. I'm sorry if I took somebody's, Drew, but I think Elijah Martin deserves a lot of respect, and I don't think he has gotten enough of it. From the coaching staff, I'm going to pick Carrie Taylor. The reason that I'm going to pick her is because I know that she is a huge part of what the foundation of this club and what the belief system of this club was Carrie Taylor. Yes, she's not with us anymore. She's moved on to much bigger and much better things, by the way, and I love her to death. And in knowing her, I know that she had a huge part in building the foundation of this. So she gets my MVP. Now, for the front office, I have to go with Ricardo Campos. He has done so much for this club, and he continues to do so much for this club that it's ridiculous the amount of work that he's getting done for what he's getting paid. I know that he does it because he loves this club and because he wants to build something here along with us. So those are my three. I love the three of them, and I've had the honor of talking to Ricardo and talking to Carrie and consider them friends. Hopefully get to talk to Elijah soon. But with everything that's been going on, Jesse, if you're listening, Elijah Martin on the podcast, thank you. That's it for me. You guys.
Who's next?
I love it. Thank you, Jerry. Really, that was touching. Everything. I'm gonna cry, man, at the end of this. Drew, I know.
I was trying to split us up so you didn't have to get too much locals at once. But
Okay.
I can go if you want.
Never enough.
There's never enough.
Never enough. All right, I'll go so
with your
nobody
hat.
else takes my other ones. Jerry said my three pretty much in order. I will say I'll do something similar though, but I'll do it in a different order. So I'll start with front office. The person who I was kind of thinking of, but I think that they kind of almost did more pre-year one, if you will, would be Warren in some ways. Just his DNA into the club, his identity of as we've talked about, going up and talking to people and being out there. So I'm going to use him as a 0.5 and, but somebody else can pick that up if they want. Cause the one I actually kept thinking about, I was like, I want to do Warren, but I was like, you know what, who I keep talking about from the front office or from, just staff on the team is Ryan, because of COVID and because of what's happened. Without Ryan, I don't know if we would get the same sort of access and have it work the same way. He's exceptionally gifted at what he does. I did what he did. I did what he did. I give you cookie, got you cookie. No, I did what he did for a few years, and it's really, really tough to do. So it is something that is, incredible that he's able to turn around what he can in a short amount of time, as well as the quality of what he does is absolutely cool. And it makes us all feel more connected to the club when we can't be in the stadium or can't be around the club as much. So for me, that's why I would pick him from kind of the front office club side. From the coaching side, I think it's Nate Miller in terms of just what he's done for the style. We were talking about having an identity, and Cesar saying as kind of we have a discernible, tactical outlook. It may be different or adaptable, but it's definitely there's underpinnings and beliefs there. It's very technical driven. It's very tactics driven in terms of some of the ideas they have. It seems like they need more mentally aware players to pull it off who also physically can get into the positions. And it seems like that's always difficult to find, especially when you're somebody like Landon who did it for years on the field. It's probably frustrating. But as Jerry said, Carrie really helped craft the kind of player side of that, I think, a lot, which is really amazing. And then Nate kind of filled the brain in, right? So Carrie's the heart and the muscles, if you will. I think in some ways she definitely brought that attitude. Then Nate might be kind of the brain or kind of the intuition in some ways with that, which I think has been really cool to watch that again, DNA kind of bleed into the club. And then from a player angle, Elijah has been just so consistent all over everything, as Jerry said, which was, disappointing that he had to choose him, but we do have to get him on the podcast, hopefully, and on everybody's podcast again, just to kind of recap the season due to, I think, favored fan player for sure. We'll take a poll here as the locals and see, maybe do some sort of award. We've been kicking around stuff like that. So maybe, but when it comes to players for me to be different, I think it's really hard. I'm really tied to Barry because I watched him as a college player when we went for our like locals, like watch and see, and to see him come back, just the story and have him come in and score was great. But and being able to interview him kind of right before was pretty fantastic. So for me, just personally, that was pretty neat because he is from, kind of the same part of San Diego that I grew up in, not in Poway, but kind of that 15 corridor. And then going away and coming back, it's pretty cool to kind of see that completion for a player and then put us into a position as a club, almost like this, white knight. But in some ways, it's too fun. But I'm also leaving you guys a lot better options out there as well to choose. But for me personally, if we're keeping it personal, I'll say that one for sure.
I love it, man. Chris, from afar.
Yeah. No, I'll go for sure. I'm gonna have to throw in a couple extra MVPs, but I'm gonna have to throw in the fine gents at the locals because I'm about to purchase this Jarritos orange shirt, and if you know me, I only wear black, so I'm making an exception. First of all,
we will never have one in black, unfortunately. So they will come in 6 colors, I think, eventually, maybe more. But we're gonna try and do a few other flavors as well. But yeah, black.
Dark berry, bro.
There is Mexican cola, which is like dark brown. But like, I don't think we'll have a black soda.
The
CEO of BGN bought that Jarritos shirt, so like, that is out and about on podcasts everywhere.
He's just so you made Chris have envy. Is that what you're saying, Chris? You have to now go get it to.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that you're gonna do blackberry. That's all I'm saying.
It sounds great in Spanish. Cereza negra.
Imaginary.
We
flavor.
will have some more black merchandise coming out for you as well, like kind of a dark heather gray as well, if you kind of work that into the wardrobe as well. So what I'm wearing here. So more of that stuff coming for sure too.
I'm about to get that coffee mug too. All right, so all right. So for me, I think I'm gonna have to say, as far as coaches go, I mean Nate Miller too. Like, really, like the dude is a numbers guy. I'm a tactician. I like that stuff. So like, really, like, seeing his work at the other Lansing clubs. I mean, this all could have been very simple in the beginning. He could have just brought over the club that folded, and then y'all would have been stoked. Like, what I mean? But no, Nate Miller, man, and talking to him, really kind of hearing, his passion, his position. I mean, like, the guy's really come a long way, and to being a part of 2 clubs that kind of went down, and what I'm saying, like, and here he is, and I'm sure, like, when that Lansing FC club that just launched, recently, I'm sure he's like, oh man, I hope it lasts. But I would say Nate Miller, that's mine. Front office, I mean, how could I not say Compost, man? Like, I mean, do you know what we did on Twitter? I mean, we started a dang merch war, dude. 3X is available. Like, all you listeners, like, you weren't gonna get a 3X.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't gonna happen.
Man. Yeah, he did, and that's why, like, I can't scream his name enough. Like, that dude, every single day we text him about stuff, and he's making it happen. So Chris is dead on there. Like, you would not have 3X, you would not have the cool store items without him plugging away during what is a crisis, right, man? Like, seriously, it's awesome.
That's huge, and I mean, we'll work it out for the tall guys too pretty soon. You'll figure that out, so you don't have that midriff jersey thing happening. We'll figure it out, but so definitely I gotta give that shout out to Compost.
Unless you want that look, and then you go for it. there you go.
I mean, not
it works
not
with
that.
Drew.
That's
Drew's
a little
like,
different.
Hey, Drew,
when I play Bridge Park Harbor, Drew, I think he's like 7'3". I can't.
Running a lot, working out.
Drew's after that Dak look. That's the half shirt. I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you keep pulling on the bottom of your shirt to make it longer.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Man.
They
They're up there a little bit.
Yeah. So
especially for an XL. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So like, yeah, Ricardo Campos he's got to get my vote there, and then players. Man. I'm gonna honestly, like, I'm giving mine to a Henny. Guy's been stout. Like, I mean, nonstop. He has been the business, and I was probably more worried about how to get his name right, but it's actually pretty easy. and you know, and I
Yeah, it's
mean,
Francis, bro.
yeah. right. No, he's
That's pretty funny. That's pretty
it
funny.
is funny, right? But like he was like enjoyable to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he brought like a solid energy and you know, I mean, obviously when technical staff added a few more pieces or when they did get to configuring, that made a big deal. You know what I mean? And so, you know, but he gave you his all, and you know, and then the time we've had him on the podcast too, that was, you know, obviously very, very chill. So yeah, so I mean, those are mine. You know, if I had to pick someone off a different pod from what I've seen thus far, like, man, I might have to give it to the Two Balls guys, even though I haven't been on their show specifically, only because
Here's your
like,
invitation right here, right? Right, dudes? Yeah.
Right here.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have, and Cesar has. I mean,
I haven't been on there, but I mean, you know what though? Let me tell you, they made watching simulated soccer like amazing. Like they made it amazing. I have never thought about watching soccer being played for me on a screen, and now that's all I do is just put it on and just watch it happen. And you know, and I can't wait to be on their show too. But yeah, definitely that you guys really did come through hard, because I mean, I don't know what we would have done.
Thanks for bringing that up, because now I'm just remembering when I jinxed our team against Fairweather.
Yeah.
With Chivas against Juventus.
I mean,
Never
to be
forgot.
fair, you picked Chivas. I mean, come on, that's not even.
We were winning. And I
It wasn't my
celebrated too
choice.
hard.
You
It
did.
wasn't my
You
choice.
did.
Caesar over here picking Mexico, which
and beating
is
France.
beating France, a Cinderella story. But again, that that seems like an eternity ago. Like we had two simulated FIFA tournaments. That's
And
how
one
long
was
it's
on
been.
hold for the longest. Too.
It really was. So thank you for bringing that up.
And I will have you know that I bought the battery packs for my Xbox One, so that's what I got with my with my part of the money.
Making
I got these
dreams
wonderful
happen.
headphones.
Nice.
Making dreams happen.
I'm gonna avoid the cliche of front office coach and player. Like, I think we have sung the praises of Nate Miller. I think he's phenomenal. I think I mean, there's just so much love to give around that the effect that John Kempen has had on this team has been amazing. I think without John Kempen, it's a different team. I'm going to shout out Grant Stoneman. I think he is overlooked from time to time. We don't miss Joe Greenspan. That's what's crazy. We don't miss Joe Greenspan because this guy went from League One, stepped right in, and now leads the league in passes and almost leads the league in yellow cards. And then my personal favorite is I really like Colin Martin. He's kind of been that guy that got a little bit of hate at the beginning, but I think without Colin Martin on the pitch, I don't think we get to the point where we're competitive to sign guys like Guido and Rubin and Barry. I think he kind of gets us to that point of this guy who steps into some roles that he's uncomfortable with. He gets a goal, which I celebrated 50 times over. So a little bit of maybe not the most sexy picks for MVPs of the team, but I really liked the way John Kempen changed the team. I really liked the way Grant Stoneman stepped into that back line and kind of took over for a defensive player of the year. And I really liked the way that Colin Martin just kept working and kept working and kept working. Not to mention guys like Jack Metcalf, who I absolutely adore as a Liverpool fan. But I think those are the three. I think those are the three guys that I really have a lot of respect for on the pitch and off the pitch as well.
Yeah, I mean, now I feel like I have to choose. I mean, I have to choose some of the, like, you guys basically, like, what I was going to say, you guys are all going to say, so I'm going to choose 3 options that are entirely different. We'll start off with first, it's very cheesy. It's going to be extremely cheesy, but the listeners, because guess what? If people weren't listening to what we were saying, we would not be doing what we're doing, because so thank you to literally any of you that are listening to this right now, literally listening to any of our work, like literally listening to or clicking on anything that I'm doing or any of you guys are doing. Like, if it wasn't for you guys, honestly, just because like if no one was actually, I don't know, like retweeting our posts, if there was anybody who was actually like clicking on our stuff, that just like I wouldn't be doing it. Actually, honestly, I probably still would. I'm not gonna
Yes,
lie.
you would.
But I'm not gonna lie, because I'm a weirdo soccer nerd who just absolutely loves this stuff. Second of all right, so second MVP is to all of you. There you go, another cheesy one. Yeah, beautiful, so cheesy. All of you, because once again, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, and I feel this a lot with at least with the Mexican soccer world, just that so initially, like when I at least most of the work that I tend to do comes to like is like involved with the Mexican soccer world. It's my content in English, and there's a recognition that just if there wasn't a passion for us doing this work, it wouldn't exist, because the companies that I tend to work for, although they give me a decent amount of money, it's not enough for myself or for anybody else involved who wants to really be a legitimate journalist. So it's the same thing when I look at the San Diego soccer scene, because as I mentioned earlier, you're not going to, none of us are saying, oh, wow, how did Loyal do the other day? I'm going to go flip to the Union Tribune. None of us say that. No, there's no way that any of us say that. The biggest newspaper in the city, none of us say that at all. So it's, if it wasn't for any of you guys, I feel like I'd be completely ill-informed. And I'm saying this as someone who dives into too many stats about the team, dives into too many like numbers and formations, but just like you, once again, you guys are all an absolute necessity. You're an absolute necessity, because if you guys don't do it, who else would? You know, that's the big thing. All right, now number 3, I guess we have to actually talk about the players, and I'm going to talk about the unsung heroes, because yes, I would love to talk about Alejandro Guido, and I will hype up Alejandro Guido to the day I die. 100%. I think he's an absolute fantastic player, and as I mentioned on Twitter, I thought that he's the biggest acquisition that Loyal have made to this day. But that said, overlooking Barry, overlooking Rubin, I think you have to look at a lot of the unsung heroes. You have to look at, and that's what I'm grouped the third MVP as, is the unsung heroes. You're gonna have to look at first and foremost the fullbacks, just because just like Elijah Martin and Metcalf, just what incredible work those dudes have done. You know, because it's not just what they're doing the defensive end, but just if you watch Loyal for 10 to 15, 20 minutes, you see a lot what they do attacking wise too. And it's just, it's absolutely incredible. The amount of energy it takes to do that, you know, and like I'm someone who jogs frequently, but I do not jog as much or just like cover as much, you know, cover as much ground as those guys do. But also, like, if we're gonna include those two, like, and if I'm talking about the unsung heroes, you have to include every single goalkeeper so far this season, and we're gonna have to talk about Colin Martin, also Charlie Adams. I think all those guys who've been there from the very beginning, who have been able to maintain their place within their starting 11, and even with the introduction of new talent and just talent that has, I don't know, just like Miguel Barry, who looks like an up-and-coming striker. Alejandro Guido, who has youth national team and also national team experience. And also Rubin, who could easily be playing in MLS if he really wants. He could easily be playing in Liga MX. But to be able to keep up with that talent, but also to be able to shine with that talent, it's just, I don't know. So those guys have just been absolutely extraordinary to me.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. And finishing it off, Lance.
Yeah, you know, for me, man, I definitely am going to call out Jack Metcalf. Not only because I'm a Liverpool fan and he's from Liverpool, but my God, dude, he has been consistent in and out, day in, day out. I mean, his crosses into the box have been just a beautiful thing to see. And his work ethic, man, he's pedal to the metal the whole time. Like, I don't have enough good things to say about that guy. And John Kempin, my God. When I mean, I will never forget that match where he was in the box for the penalty shootout, like that penalty kick. He blocks the first one, it comes back, he blocks the second one, and it just went in on the third attempt. But I mean, for him to do that, I was just like, John, thank you, my man. Thank you. You know, and then I got to give a shout out to Lizzie from the like team manager and the front office. I mean, dude, she has done so much behind the scenes just for the Loyalist podcast, like hooking me up with the players, and then seeing her out on the pitch. I mean, and just her whole attitude is really just kick ass. She's happy. She loves her job. She loves everything about the team. Like, I just don't have enough good things to say about her either. Like, those three for sure are my MVPs for Loyal this year.
Absolutely. And every single one of those people, don't get the credit that they deserve, especially in the situation with this first season. And a lot of them walking into a year where they didn't know that we were going to have a pandemic. But nonetheless, they pulled through. I know you want to say yours. I'll
Just
give
my biggest MVP was Andrew, because I know you guys heard me say this, but
yes.
he listened to me into looking to buy Mexican talent.
Maybe.
So
Nice.
So I mean,
Tony's like, maybe.
I have the clip as evidence.
Yes, we also have the clip, and I'll just leave it at one so we can just go ahead and wrap this up. I can't believe nobody mentioned my best friend, Landon Donovan.
Yeah.
I mean, Landon, honestly, he
the face of the club. The face of the club.
He won me over. It's this young whippersnapper of a coach in his first crack at it. Honestly,
he was like a young player of the year at the 2002 FIFA World Cup or something like that. I haven't heard of him past 2002 is all blur since me.
Yeah. It's something about like the number 2 or something.
2002.
Yeah,
I was 5 years. I was 5 years old.
Oh wow. Anyway, Landon, honestly, as a Mexican supporter, I've never liked this man. I've never had an iota of care for him. But the moment I saw that he was for real was at the kit reveal party. He took the time to look me directly in my eyes, upwards, because he's not tall at all, and just calmed me down with his tender and sweet voice of just, hey, we got this. Thank you for being supporters. And then that instant, just all those years of Mexican suffrage just melted off. And I said, you know what? He's in it for the city. I don't know if any of you guys saw him play as a San Diego Soccer, but he himself has represented San Diego. So that's something that, is big points for me. And it was in one of the games. I don't forget. I think it was after Reno here at home, where he really won me over because it was a loss. And after we were walking back, I don't make contact with any of the players or Landon specifically when it's a loss, but there's only one porta potty at Torero Stadium, so we all have to share it, and it's right next to the locker rooms, and so they, everybody hears everybody's business. So as I'm coming out and I'm like, all right, gotta wash my hands, just Landon's right there in front of me. He's like, hey, what was the Padres score? I was like, the Padres won 5-4, and just taking the time and consideration just to even ask that, I don't know, it just rubbed me the right way, and everything that the Loyal's done has rubbed me the right way. But I can't say enough good things, gentlemen. Really appreciate this. I know Drew is gonna run out of hats to put on his head. I kind of wanted
to
wear
like
so
3 or 4 more.
But I definitely,
one's the secretary and one's the vice president.
There you go.
Depends on the day.
I love it.
Yeah.
And now we're just partying.
Loyal have a rival. Ooh.
But
that's
definitely want to say thank you to everybody here. That again, you guys took the time to come and talk with us about something that we all love and are going to support through and through. I can't say enough of this, and hopefully this isn't the last time. Maybe this is a year-round roundup every year, an annual thing. I don't know. Hopefully we're still all friends, which I really think we are.
Hopefully in person next time. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would much rather do this in person. We can all unite our collective microphones, because I have like 3, 4, I don't know. But we'll make it work, guys. If you guys want to give your guys' handle, just so everybody can find you. I know Jerry gave his out. I know Mr. Allen is took off, and we can put it right here. It's already there. But we can start over with Lance.
Oh yeah, my handle is the @Loyalist Podcast on Instagram. That's pretty much my platform of choice I use. So that's where you can find all the information about the Loyalist Podcast.
Love it, man. Chris?
Yo, my handle is by Chris or @by Chris Walker on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me there, obviously, on the Fairweather Podcast.
Love it. Mr. Drew?
You can find me, Jerry threw out the Locals SG at the Locals SG on Twitter and Instagram. But me personally, and I'm not allowed to tweet from there very often. They let me do it every time. I have to ask permission. No, it's a few of us that kind of collectively do it. If you're ever curious. But for me personally, you can go to realcheesepizza.com and then go to the Mirror Mesa Scripps location of Felipe's, and usually I'm there. Somewhere around there, just enjoying a slice. But for reals, @Drew Stork on Twitter is usually where I'm doing stuff for my brain is being spewed out for you. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you for always listening. And as Cesar said, we wouldn't be doing anything without people caring. So thanks.
Exactly. And Cesar?
Yeah. You can follow me at 2 balls and a mic. I do have a good buddy, Cesar, who
Oh, Cesar hace fútbol. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he does some like weird soccer stuff, which is just like Cesar H football in there. Although because I'm a pocho, I say it's Cesar H football. But yeah, there you go.
That's the only thing against you,
Once you see
man.
the blue check mark, you know you have the right guy.
And it's fine. There's some questionable office takes on there that we're definitely gonna look over at this point because we don't.
Do you guys know I sometimes put hummus in my tacos? Well, let's talk about that later. Right?
Oh, game changer! Hello.
Hey, you think about it: refried beans, hummus, just.
And you hate June?
Damn.
What?
Okay. All right.
Carne asada, little hummus, little salsa.
All right. I'll take your word for it. I'll enjoy.
I like this guy. I'm going to Taco Bell. I'm saying hold the beans. I'm going to get my own hummus in there.
Okay. I think hummus tacos are more tacos than Taco Bell.
Let's not talk to Tacos de Vaquero. See what he can do with hummus.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna definitely. If you guys want to just stick around a little bit, we'll wrap it up. But I'll stop recording. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it, and hopefully see you guys in person soon.